It's a shame that we're maybe not going to get to actually see him given that full push, that full, go. I think that's where a lot of people are. People don't really mind selling him for 50 mil. Igal, you had mentioned before Folarin Balogun when we're talking about selling players. So let's talk about him. Obviously done an absolute madness in France last season, 20 plus goals for a player of his age. He's, never really been given that opportunity at first team men's football before. Albeit, yes, people will talk about the French league and stuff, and we've not been kind to the French league on this show. I won't get it twisted. We've always talked about how many of those goals actually mean something if this was the Premier League sort of thing. Yeah. But you have to beat who's in front of you. You have to score goals past the goalkeeper put in front of you, and Balogun has done that. Should we start off with Igal? Would you keep Balogun this season? Not talking about at the expense of Nketiah or at the expense of somebody else. Would you want to keep him just for like squad numbers or whatever the case may be?
Would I want to keep him? Maybe. Would he want to stay? I don't think he would. So based on my opinion of him staying or going is based off of what I think he would like to do for his career. And he's made it clear and evident that he doesn't want to stay and go on another loan. He's made it clear and evident that he wants to get as much game time as possible because last year it went so well for him on loan at Rennes. Or what was the club? Was it Reims? I think so.
Yeah, right.
He was on loan at Reims. He did well. He scored 20 goals. He's now the face of a USA men's national team. He wants to keep the trajectory of his career going. And let's be honest, if he's going to be at Arsenal, we might be playing Kai Havertz as a false nine before we play him as a striker. So based on that, I think he would want to leave that alone. Preseason comes in, let's see what he's doing. But he's already tweeted out tweets of how expensive he is and saying 30 million, most expensive American, all this stuff. I don't think we're going to sell him for 30 million minimum.
Sorry, minimum. He tweeted that out.
Yes, he tweeted that out. He posted it saying, did you not see the Captain America thing with him wearing the Captain America gear? He posted the transfer mark valuation of 30 million on his story, similar to how Mudryk did when Arsenal were interested in him last January.
Oh, he's gassed.
He's underselling himself as well. I'm not selling him for 30.
Big time. Arsenal have made it clear they want around 50 million euros.
Yeah.
To me, if we could get rid of both him and Eddie Nketiah, I would do it and bring somebody else in.
That wasn't the question. That wasn't the question.
But him himself, I don't believe he's going to stay at Arsenal past this summer transfer window. He makes a move, and I think he makes a permanent move away from Arsenal to get first team football somewhere else, be it in Italy, be it somewhere else in the Premier League. But Arsenal will either have a sell-on clause, buyback, and will sell him for good money. And that money can be used to be reinvested in the midfield.
So, Paul, 50 million offer comes in from, let's say, Leipzig.
Yeah.
Do you sell Balogun?
Yeah, tell him, listen, you need any help clearing your locker? And not in a bad way, but just because I feel like it's just good money. And like I've said previously, we've had conversations about him. I just feel like it's better to have not given him the opportunity to show what he can do in the Prem. So we're never wondering, or even if we are wondering, we haven't seen it. We've seen him put in some good performances in France. And obviously he's got a taste for being the leading man. So if you sell him over there and he becomes a world beater, then, great. We still got great money for him. He's an academy product. He didn't cost us anything. So to say, Leipzig, 50 million euros, I'd say, yeah, of course, sell him. I think if we kept him, I wouldn't be angry. But at the same time, I just feel like I don't know if his value is going to be as high as it is now, because even if he does stay, he's not getting the minutes I think he's looking for. He's not going to be the second striker after Jesus. So, unless he has to pretty much turn around and score similar amount of goals, between like 16 to 20 goals all comps to even come close to maintaining that value. And I just don't think he's going to get the minutes, to prove that. So he probably won't. The value won't be as high. Let's get the money and just reinvest.
Igal mentioned a possible buyback clause, which I think is a brilliant idea, and Arsenal haven't really been savvy using something like that in the past. But I'm sure that would come at the expense of the fee that you're paying for him. So I'm sure, like, say a Leipzig, we're using Leipzig as an example. If Leipzig came in and said, Arsenal said we want 50 million for Balogun, but Arsenal said we want a buyback clause in there, the price can't be 50 million, then it will drop somewhat. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you're saying basically like the price, because you couldn't say you're going to buy him back for less than they're going to buy him for. So if they're buying him for 50, then maybe the buyback clause has to be like 62, 63 or something like that. If we did, yeah, I guess so. I think it's like a kind of similar to the Fabregas one, where it's like, or maybe it's just we get first dip or first choice. Maybe that. Because then if his value went down, for example, we could just be like, okay, we've got first refusal. So if he is going to be sold, he has to be offered to us first. And then we can then start the process like that. Maybe that would be a better way to get around it rather than like a buyback clause for a certain price.
Eagle, is this literally just a case of selling a man why his value is high?
Yeah, man. This is Balogun situation. He is not going to get any more hype than what he is right now. Like, he's gonna need, wherever he goes, he might do well, and we have to be prepared for that. But at the end of the day, it's pure profit for the club. And as weird as this might sound, I'm gonna compare him to Hector Bellerin and Ainsley Maitland-Niles for a second. Hector Bellerin, we had a £50 million offer from Barcelona, £55 million offer from Barcelona. We turned it down. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, we had I think it was a £15 million offer from Wolves. We turned it down. If we turn down a 35, maybe even £40 million offer for Balogun, and he doesn't get much game time, come January, his valuation will be down to 25. So why not sell him, even if we might not get the 50 million that we want this transfer window? Then keep him, and he gets no game time. We have a disgruntled player, and his valuation decreases. There's so many things that could go wrong for us if we keep him. What's the things that could go right for us if we keep him? I don't think he's better than any of the players that we have that could play in that position right now. People say he's better than Eddie, but that's it. Really and truly, Trossard is going to play ahead of him. Kai Havertz might play ahead of him, and Jesus is going to play ahead of him. So we got to get rid of him and get the money in now before it's too late, or else we could devalue the player.
Yeah, you don't want to devalue the asset. That's an important thing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy. I guess
look at Liverpool. Liverpool sold 2 strikers that haven't done anything to this level for ridiculous money.
Paul was saying this like 2 weeks ago, so yeah.
Yeah, you're telling me he's not better than Dominic Szoboszlai? What's his name? Dominic Solanke. And what's the other guy? Leon Brewster. Leon Brewster's career highlight is sitting in a barbershop with the Champions League trophy. I mean, like a medal on his neck.
Medal, yeah, on his neck, yeah.
I have not seen one highlight of him playing football in years.
He plays in the Championship, doesn't he?
Yeah, Sheffield United. I don't think he's moved.
Promoted.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll do well in the Champions League. I mean, in the Premier League.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think the climate is kind of right, like we're saying. You know, he's just been given this role as, you know, he's declared for United States. He's kind of the poster boy over there right now. I guess the only other thing, and maybe this is again just a business move, it seems like we are including him on our trip to the US, our tour of the US. I think I saw he's partaking in like some MLS All-Star Skills Challenge, something, Arsenal versus like MLS All-Stars or something like that. So it's like, are Arsenal just really trying to squeeze anything out of this before they maybe eventually sell him, Paul? Is that what you
yeah, I think it's that. I think it's, you know, trying to squeeze as much out as possible. And I think obviously the fact that he is an Arsenal player and that we're going on this US tour, you know, it's like, come and see USA national team's number 9, you know, come and see him and play and all that sort of stuff. He'll bring more fans. Maybe it's more of a commercial thing. Yeah, similar to what Igor said, I just think his value is high at this moment in time. And obviously kind of putting him on that stage again, he'll probably get some decent minutes playing in the preseason. and yeah, just see what happens. And even if we did maybe potentially end up keeping him, it's an opportunity to kind of just see what he can do. Maybe they just still need to see how he's playing, how he's developed, you know, and how he could link up with the guys in the team.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame that we're maybe not going to get to actually see him given that full push, that full, you know, go. I think that's where a lot of people are. People don't really mind selling him for 50 mil. It's just like, I would like for him to have a chance, sort of thing. But you know, it's like 50 mil comes knocking, you kind of got to take it. Well, especially with the expenditure, the outlay we've done this summer already.
Let me say this: as fans, we're too invested in Charlie Patino and Balogun. The club is not that invested in them. The club is invested in trying to get the best players to win now. And really and truly, Charlie Patino, Balogun, they're not win now players.
Yeah.
And I think that's the, you know, that's the con, if there is one, of being successful, having a really good team, is that we are going to start losing these academy prospects, these people that, you know, back in yesteryear, we would be pushing these guys through and, you know, like bringing them into the team bit by bit. But when you're really successful, you know, these are not the people that are going to move the needle. You know, they're not even, maybe potentially not even going to give you adequate squad depth. So maybe in a sense, Balogun's loan was too good. He did too good of a job. Now, you know, if he had like a loan spell like Eddie did at Leeds, where he gets a couple goals, but, you know, you didn't really see much or he didn't start enough, then he probably would have just come back into the team and just been happy to have any sort of role or got on another loan. But once you've gone and bagged 20 goals, you were the leading man, you know, you see bigger and better things for yourself than being on the bench.